Hello there, this is the Entertainment Idiots, and today we are going to review $85.
What?
I'm just joking, we're going to review the SpongeBob movie from 2004. IMDb gives this movie a 7.0, which is weird because it was once 7.1.
Which we're still counting as such. And Rotten Tomatoes gives this thing a what? A 68%?
Come on, you could have done better than that.
So the audience disagrees with them with a 77, which is more appropriate.
And the Metacritic gives it a 66. Well, the other users give it an 8.0.
Gosh, would you believe it, Alex? Young adults showed up for this.
$85. Anyway, this is a Nickelodeon movie.
Which was the last Nickelodeon movie until The Last Airbender, but we don't talk about that.
Anyway, a pirate notices that there's a guy on a boat stranded.
Yeah. Davy on the port bow!
Anyway, so the guy goes to alert the captain, gets hit by the door, and he comes out. And it's a guy with a treasure chest on a boat. So they pull him on, and the captain goes in to inspect the treasure chest just to see what's inside. And when he opens up, it's like heaven. Because when he reaches inside,
it is tickets for the SpongeBob movie!
And because he pulls them out, everybody's very excited about it.
Cue the theme song, Alex.
Anyway, everybody starts singing the SpongeBob theme song in a very fashioned way.
Yes. Who lives in a pineapple under the sea? SpongeBob SquarePants.
Anyway, so they arrive at the theater as they go on to the boardwalk and run inside the theater where they cause a huge ruckus. And he only paid with like 5 tickets.
Dang, and there are like 30 of them.
Anyway, so they came in. So basically, the movie starts off. The real movie actually starts off.
The sea, so calm, so.
Anyway, and there's a bunch of cops and news reporters are outside because apparently
in this post 9/11 society, even children's cartoon movies are not safe.
Anyway, SpongeBob comes out to see what the emergency is, and Krabs states that the customer did not have cheese on his Krabby Patty.
Yeah, basically, when the customer took a bite, no cheese.
And so he slaps him and tells him to get a hold of himself as SpongeBob claims that he's going to go in and see what the problem is. So he comes in as the customer is actually very scared.
Yeah, for record, everyone, I'm sorry about that 9/11 joke. That was wrong to me. You slapped me in the face, Alex, for that. Ow!
Anyway, so SpongeBob attempts to put the cheese on in a very slow fashion way, and he actually comes out with the customer's order totally fine.
Alright.
Yes, and everyone starts cheering for him. And everybody sees that SpongeBob's like famous or something, and that's only realizing that it's a dream, everybody. Anyway, SpongeBob is very excited because he's going to get a promotion being manager as we see his whole wall of Player of the Month awards.
300 consecutive? That means this movie would take place in like 2030.
Yeah.
Dang.
You know, he actually pointed this out when we were watching the movie.
Dang. And it's actually true, we did the math. Also, and there's something else I want to point out. It's starting when SpongeBob wakes up. It's like his voice gets higher from this point onward. It wasn't a modern SpongeBob thing. It actually started with this movie for some reason. I'm not sure why Steven Hillenburg wanted to change SpongeBob's voice to get higher up here.
Maybe it was just because Tom Kenny couldn't really do it like the original.
Well, but yeah, it was like just a few months earlier, so I don't understand why. I mean, I get that they want to show them being kids and all, but still, I don't think that equals making a voice higher. I mean, they've acted childish in the past, so I'm not sure why they made it higher.
Who knows?
Yeah.
$85. Anyway, so SpongeBob comes into his bathroom where he actually swallows some soap in order to show us that he acts really like a sponge.
And whoa, okay, so, and that was weird.
He folds up his pants
and then we get a dirty joke. Seriously, PG, everybody. I think that should have made PG-13 alone. So
instead of brushing his teeth, he brushes his eyes to,
why?
Just to be clean for work. Anyway, he invades Squidward's privacy by going to his bathroom, and Squidward's asking what the hell he's doing in his bathroom. And SpongeBob is wondering if he was going to congratulate him
at the grand opening ceremony, but he wanted to do it in the shower because there was no shower at work.
And he gets kicked out of Squidward's house. So, on the other hand, we have Patrick, who is not wearing any pants.
And for some reason, his house that time is just literal in this case.
Anyway, Patrick is very excited because SpongeBob told him about Goofy Goober.
Yeah, basically, so they start to sing it.
In order to reenact that they are legitimately goofy goobers.
Yeah, basically, you know the words, Alex.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm the goofy goober.
Yeah, I think we get that point. Anyway, so SpongeBob's late for work, and he runs to the ceremony.
And Patrick tells him that he will be there because he's got a surprise for him. And trust me, it's a surprise.
We will never forget. So anyway, when SpongeBob arrives, there's a gigantic news report at the Krusty Krab where Perch Perkins interviews Mr. Krabs and tells him that he has actually built a second Krusty Krab, and wonders why, and it's only because of money and profits.
Yeah, and the weird thing is, why is it next door?
It's literally the exact same thing with a giant number 2 on it.
Yeah, what's the point?
Well, in Mr. Krabs' point of view, it's for money. Well, but the problem is...
Just branch it out.
But the problem is, Plankton's very pissed off because he never gets any customers, and he's fed up with Krabs getting all these promotions and all this popularity.
And what about Nat?
But that was before this. I mean, that was I don't even know, after this. Anyway, Plankton is very confident about getting the formula in order for customers to come eat at his chum bucket, which is actually bad. And then he realizes that he's forgot one letter in the alphabet on his filing cabinet.
Yeah, because he thought it was only A to Y, but they forgot Z. Z? Yes, Z, the letter after Y.
Yeah, but then when
Y,
he literally takes the plan Z out, reads about it.
And this is where Plankton literally becomes evil. He didn't believe him he was evil before. This will make it believe.
And he acts like he has a big orgy on that thing. Anyway, and comes outside and vows that he will rule the world once he steals the Krabby Patty secret formula.
Yeah,
and then he makes some weird comments, and after the end gets stepped on by SpongeBob.
Yeah, basically, ow, 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 ow.
And when SpongeBob thinks he stepped in something, he scratches him on the ground.
Okay, and considering what he does later in the movie, yeah, we already know it.
Anyway, so Plankton tells him that that's nothing but himself, and SpongeBob wonders if he's going to go to the award ceremony after Plankton reveals that he's going to try to rule the world.
Yeah, basically this really does make Plankton seem darker than he usually is. Anyway, so Mr. Krabs opens the ceremony for the Krusty Krab too, but he has to announce about the new employee manager. And SpongeBob is happy while Mrs. Puff and Sandy get their cameos for the movie.
Which are barely shown in this film. Anyway, Mr. Krabs announces that this new employee is like the best, a hard worker and everything, and SpongeBob thinks that he is going to be the one to win.
What do you expect? It's hard-working, and his name y'all know that starts with an S, and so SpongeBob thinks it's him.
Obviously, Mr. Krabs' name's more like qualities of a good, employee.
Even though SpongeBob has that stuff, it's more Squidward, apparently. And
when SpongeBob confuses it for being him, he makes a loud speech, which Mr. Krabs actually tells him that he needs to stop because he's just making a fool out of himself.
And this is where Mr. Krabs says some dirty language. What was it again?
He says jackass 3 times in the scene. Anyway, Mr. Krabs tells him that he did not get the job because he is just a kid.
Yeah, and to be a manager, you have to be a man. Otherwise, they call it teenager.
And SpongeBob's depressed because Mr. Krabs told him that Squidward is more of an adult. And now people just think of bad, dirty words to say about SpongeBob, which aren't really.
And there's Pearl cameo for the movie.
Anyway, SpongeBob goes away feeling sad and depressed about it, as Mr. Krabs actually kind of feels bad for SpongeBob the way he's actually feeling.
And this is when Patrick comes in literally in the scene that should have given this movie the PG-13 rating.
Because all of a sudden he flashes us again.
What the what?
Anyway, he destroys the entire ceremony as everybody runs away.
And starting a fire underwater. Anyway, so Plankton goes into basically Neptune's castle, where we get introduced to the imposter King Neptune, because basically that was not the Neptune from basically the Clash of Trident or the
episode
or the Clash of Trident.
Neptune's spatula. Anyway, so the ceremony is held about a prisoner, but it ends up failing because he does not like the orders of the king. He's very mean.
Also, everyone, fun fact a second. That guy, he's voiced by Joshua Seth. And you might recognize Joshua Seth as the voice of Ty from the Digimon series.
Anyway, so Mindy lets him free and he runs away. And she confronts him and asks him why he's being such a mean jerk.
Yeah, and Mindy is voiced by a pre-Iron Man 2, Scarlett Johansson. Anyway, so speaking of that, so King Neptune is basically telling how she's going to be the queen of the sea one day.
And the crown is very important because he's bald. But not until Plankton steals the crown as he goes on a rampage.
And he goes nuts for it. Anyway, so while Plankton literally steals it, we get cut to Goofy Goobers.
The place where all the fun is.
Yes. Oh, I'm the Goofy Goober.
Yeah, basically this weird demented clock ends up telling that it's time to sing the
Yeah, what
Goofy Goober song by
what
this
is this?
giant peanut
What
gay
is this,
guy.
Pee-wee's Playhouse?
I don't know, but I think he's voiced by a gay guy.
Unbelievable. Anyway, so essentially he's singing the Goober Goober theme song. You all know it is.
Yeah, everybody knows it.
I think we sung it twice here.
Until SpongeBob's crying
Yeah,
because of this whole situation.
At some peanut bar, and essentially he decides not to think about it, so it makes him feel a little better.
Until...
That's actually the advice I would give anybody. Really,
right, but until Patrick comes in and reminds him about it.
Yeah, that's the dumbest move ever.
Anyway, SpongeBob's constantly crying about this, and Patrick tells him to cheer up.
Yeah, anyway, so basically when Patrick's saying that he's a kid, it's like saying he's a kid. Anyway, so then Patrick says that he's supposed to get a toy with it. So seriously, this is the equivalent of a bar at... Okay.
Anyways, when Patrick gets a sundae, SpongeBob actually changes his mind, thinking that it's going to be good. And then, get ready, folks, for some drunk drink jokes.
Wait. Dude, so let me get this straight. They get drunk over ice cream?
Well, you could argue that it's a kid's movie parodying adult drinking and getting drunk.
Well, yeah, but still, that makes no sense. I mean, even Hey Arnold did a little slightly different version of that. Many times with Helga's parents, basically with the mother drinking orange juice as essentially the equivalent of getting drunk.
Yeah, but you know about Tiny Toons, right?
Oh yeah, Tiny Toon Adventures.
They actually did a beer joke. Where they were drinking beer, and they held beer in their hands.
What?
Yeah.
Are you? Anyway, so they keep on suggesting that they get drunk again over ice cream, while that guy just keeps on getting more and more messy.
And it seems like he's not even bothered by all that ice cream getting onto his clothes and
to the point where he's literally getting buried in it.
Yeah, but
see?
Yeah. Anyway, they are obviously drunk as they have the peanut guy right next to them.
Yeah, basically, and that guy's literally playing the piano.
And then they pass out. Anyway, the next morning, SpongeBob wakes up still drunk.
Yeah, basically he's saying that it was 8 in the morning and basically he wants to go home and to get his friend out. Anyway, so after still, again, getting drunk over ice cream.
Still drunk in the morning, apparently.
Yeah.
And he notices that Mr. Krabs is going to be mad.
Yeah, but then he realizes, oh yeah, he didn't get him the promotion for no reason. So
which makes him extremely pissed off.
And with him being drunk in the brain, it doesn't help.
Anyways, back to the Krusty Krab.
Yeah, anyway, so basically Mr. Krabs finds King Neptune coming his way, and basically he thinks that he would have money. And basically, well, seriously, $101 for a Krabby Patty with cheese? Dang.
Anyway, he comes in and confronts everybody, telling him that he needs to find Mr. Krabs. And when he finds him, he gives him a letter framing him that says that he was the one who stole the crown in the first place when it was originally Plankton.
Basically, I stole your crown, like, you take Krabs!
Yeah, and then he gets pissed off about it and thinks he has to punish him after he hears a message from a telephone.
Yeah, and it turned out to be Plankton in disguise.
And it's obvious that it's literally framing Mr. Krabs.
Yeah.
And Mr. Krabs tries to, cover up for this, and he screams to the top of his lungs.
Basically says somehow he loves Plan Z, and basically after screaming, he's about to burn him to death.
And and SpongeBob comes on the Krusty Krab after Mr. Krabs wanted somebody to vouch for him. Yeah, so basically he agreed, and so then SpongeBob came in at convenient timing. Basically, he, tells him about it and how he had worked with Mr. Krabs for many years. He thought it was a great place, but then he realized it was a great big check. Now he deserved a manager job, but he didn't give it to him because they thought he was a kid, but he was a 100% man, and that man said, boom. Yeah. Basically, that does not really impress King Neptune. And that doesn't make you an adult. Anyway, so literally, his pants were on fire. Literally. Yeah, he gets on fire. His pants were on fire. His underwear was on fire. And of course, he was on fire. And he jumps into a tub completely naked, coming out fully clothed. Okay, anyway, SpongeBob stops King Neptune from burning Krabs alive. Basically, he was flattered on how he was doing it for him, but it turned out he wasn't. Anyway, King Neptune accuses Mr. Krabs of stealing his crown, and then SpongeBob notices that King Neptune is actually bald. Yeah, and literally everyone's so surprised by this to the point where one guy's eyes are burning out of it. Jesus, kids movie. Anyway, so SpongeBob actually vows to actually go to Shell City, where the crown is, and King Neptune is actually laughing about it because he thinks he's not going to survive because SpongeBob wants to get his crown back. Yeah, and you don't think anyone who, So Mindy tries to come in and stop her father from doing what he wants to do to the Krabs. And she says that SpongeBob is willing to risk his life in order to get his crown back, just so he can get it. Anyway, they fight over how many days he has to come back.
It was 10, and then Patrick made it 6.
Nice going, Patrick. Anyway, King Neptune vows to freeze Krabs in order to keep him stay there until SpongeBob comes back with his crown. And Squidward wants to know what the heck happened to
Krabs. Oh no.
Who's going to sign my paycheck? Anyway, Mindy warns them that there's a giant Cyclops and other traps along the way to Shell City.
My guess is the Black Widow had experienced that at one point.
And apparently Patrick is actually in love with this girl, Mindy.
Why
and
not?
She gives them a bag of wins, which she stole from her father.
Yeah, so basically on how the father's calling her to come back, and Patrick comments on how she's hot, and you get the idea.
And basically she says that you need to use the bag of wins to get home. And she tells them good luck. And they tell the frozen Mr. Krabs that they are going to rescue the crown and tell him that it's going to be okay.
Yeah, so basically, yeah.
Yeah, they're acting dumb right there. And so Mr. Krabs thinks this is not big. And then we got a Batman slide pole reference. And then when they jump into the elevator for a few seconds,
music's gonna be...
And they feast their eyes.
And a meme was born.
Drugs. And they feast their eyes on the nice paddy wagon.
Yeah, basically, and SpongeBob's giving Patrick a little lecture on what's made of it. Basically the
Mr. Krabs using it for promotional reasons. And SpongeBob does not need a license to drive this thing. Only a spatula and a soda.
So that could get around it about him still being at boating school. Anyway, Carpati, yeah, definitely the 60s Batman reference.
And then boom, they are set and go off to find that crown.
And we get our movie poster. Not that.
And anyway, Plankton comes to the Krusty Krab, very happy that Krabs is frozen, giving him the opportunity to steal the Krabby Patty formula, which he actually admits that Plan Z was the best.
Yeah, which just makes me wonder how he knew the combination, but whatever.
Anyway, he takes it to the chum bucket, and Mr. Krabs sheds a tear, which actually freezes.
Yeah, my reasoning about that is how he's a little conscious now. Maybe he's slowly slowing out because he's underwater.
Anyway, SpongeBob wants to fill up his gas, and these two redneck stereotypes actually just make fun of him because he's a kid.
Yeah, so apparently gas is mustard or ketchup in that world.
Basically, SpongeBob tells him that he does not want to be called a kid because he's men.
And
both of them are, actually.
And basically they talk about how
Shell City is actually a terrible place.
And with that Cyclops, and which I respect, but, they bet that they won't last 10 seconds over that counted line. And
anyway,
they try proving wrong only for this thug out of nowhere to take the car. Out of the car, fellas.
He actually steals their car in order to go to the thug tug. Anyway, so they prove to him that they can last 12 seconds. They start laughing at him and just walk away.
Basically, they comment on who's the kid now. Anyway, so Perch basically comes in and narrates on how Plankton was selling Krabby Patties at the chum bucket for the first time.
He gets interviewed.
Yeah, so basically,
wants to know why he has Krabby Patties. And Plankton tells a full-out lie.
Basically, and how before Mr. Krabs was frozen by Plankton, basically Mr. Krabs told him to sell the Krabby Patties at the chum bucket and don't let the flame die out. Anyway, so remember these bucket helmets, because this is going to be a really important block device.
Yeah, because everybody thinks it's just like a little prize, like the things they do at Burger King and stuff, but it's actually, you're going to find out what it really is. And everybody gets bucket helmets of their own.
No, thank you, Plankton. We will stick with our own hats.
Mm-hmm. No bucket helmets for us.
No, thank you.
Anyway, Karen warns him that there's actually SpongeBob and Patrick going to find out the crown, and they're going to discover that Plankton is going to be in the fall for it.
Yeah, basically, they might find some stubby, tiny fingerprints. Anyway, so...
Plankton hired Dennis to
voiced
kill
by
them.
the Thomas the Tank Engine narrator Alec Baldwin?
Anyway, these rednecks laugh at him, so he decides to rip their mouths off. Ouch.
Aye. Don't mess with Mr. Conductor.
Anyway, so they are very tired since they don't have their car, and they think that they're really far away from Shell City.
Yeah, so basically, they think that they're far away, but then they realize that they're only 5 days away.
By car, actually.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem when they have to get back. And they find the car, and...
Yeah, and then the thug tug is filled with hooligans and such.
Yeah.
And they notice some guy has the key. And they figure out a plan of how to get in there, and they decided that a distraction should work. And Patrick was the one who wants to decide to do the distraction. So guess what he does, guys? He walks in, looks like a tough guy.
Yeah, basically, and SpongeBob's crawling down the side. And basically, Patrick's like, can I have everyone's attention?
And anyway, everyone looks at him like they're about to pound him and crowd him.
What do you want? I have to use the bathroom, he says. And basically, it's like, it's right over there.
And SpongeBob actually attempts to do it and pretends that he lost one of his contacts to avoid being beaten up or something.
He probably does have contacts, and sometimes he uses glasses.
Anyway, he's pissed off that Patrick created such a terrible
And then we got
distraction.
a mopping Patrick for a second.
Anyway, he just plays around with the bubble because his hands were dirty, and then they get excited and they throw a bubble party. Yeah, basically they're just having fun with a bunch of bubbles, and then one of them actually slips out of the bathroom door, as you see right here.
Okay, wasn't the door closed?
And then when they hear someone yelling, they're in trouble now.
Yeah, so they have to figure out who popped the bubble.
Which he actually says that there's no bubble blowing babies, and he says they're gonna find him. And he tells SpongeBob and Patrick to get the hell over here so that they can.
And they're on the baby, and don't think we don't weed them out.
Right.
Now everybody line up.
And anyway, so he uses music to actually make them all admit who was the real bubble.
But this is no ordinary song.
This is the Goofy Goober theme song, which Patrick and SpongeBob cannot resist. And he actually tempts them more to singing more.
Yeah.
And anyway, they literally are about to give in as Patrick melts. But it ends up that before they actually can spit out a word, it ends up these two conjoined twins who are attached to each other.
Wait, what? Who are these guys?
And they were end up the ones who are actually saying the Goofy Goober lines.
I guess they liked it, and they, well, sing it.
And right in front of them, and they said that they got a double baby to beat up, and which they actually do. And Patrick reveals he found the key.
I can only imagine the Incredible Hulk was in that fight.
Anyway, back to Bikini Bottom, where Squidward is happy that SpongeBob is not here. Anyway, so he goes back on his, I forgot what kind of bicycle that's called, but
I'm not sure what it was.
And when he notices people with bucket helmets and wonders where everybody's getting them from. So this woman he asks ends up telling him that it's actually from the Chum Bucket, where Plankton is giving away free Krabby Patties along with those bucket helmets.
Yeah, and then Squidward realizes the truth, and essentially because he messed with his paycheck, he's going to report into the highest authority like King Neptune. But that is a really bad plan when you give it away. All that stuff does that.
Because since he gave it away to Plankton, everything's going to be ruined for him, as Plankton actually has nothing
to lose in this case, because he has a plan. Yeah, there's a reason why we chose not to accept the bucket hats.
Basically, Plankton activates the control bucket helmets, and now everybody's mind gets controlled when the buckets literally jam on top of their heads. Even on Mrs. Puff and Larry.
And out of nowhere, we all of a sudden get a Nazi reference.
No, more like zombies, which they are turned into, and they all go on to attack Squidward to turn them into one of them.
And this is where Plankton looks evil for a split second.
Anyway, so they're going down a road with a bunch of skulls and bones, obviously looking like a death road, and then they notice that there's free ice cream, which is actually a trap, everybody, spoiler alert, and SpongeBob runs in to get the ice cream.
Yeah, into that thing, and then Patrick notices, but doesn't.
But SpongeBob realizes that, ew.
Yeah, just like they're stuck together.
And he wonders what the hell is going on as the ice cream bar breaks down.
And now they kind of wonder what kind of lady is that. And
but unfortunately, it's not a lady. It's a tongue.
A tongue of some kind. Yeah, anyway, it was revealed it was a sea monster's a booby trap. And so basically...
SpongeBob screams as Patrick watches, and when he's about to get eaten...
A nice 50s movie reference, I guess.
And then he goes back onto the car where they are screaming for their lives. And then we go back to Thug Tug where Dennis arrives. And then he actually blows a bubble.
Yeah, basically, and he blows it, and only to find out that it was SpongeBob and Patrick. Yeah.
And because this guy actually reminds him about the whole rule of blowing bubbles, he does not really care and punches him to the ground. Actually to the sky, and he falls right into the Thug Tug.
Again, don't mess with Mr. Conductor.
Yeah, anyway, the monster gets eaten by a giant slithering eel.
And basically they lose a car, and a famous meme was born. Wait for it. Wait for it.
And then, then they're actually shocked of what happened.
There it is.
And then they are very, very upset that they lost their car, and now they have nowhere to go but to walk again. And Patrick and SpongeBob see that there's a giant trench of...
Yeah, just this hazardous thing that's just like if they go in there, they probably would get tortured. Anyway, so Patrick notices this way down, and it makes this weird noise. Anyway, SpongeBob decides to go home because they wouldn't be able to make it in there. and only for Mindy to show up and ultimately try to motivate them into being men.
But before she does show up, Patrick tries to make him snap out of it, but SpongeBob yells at him, saying that they do some of the most childish things. For the record,
eat ice cream, and
Patrick has Goofy Goober underpants for like 30 years straight.
3 years.
3 years. Sorry, everybody.
And basically admits that they are kids, and they go. He runs home.
And then that's when they find Mindy.
Yeah, basically, how much did they hear? She heard enough, and
they ask what's going on in the Bikini Bottom, and she tells them that everything is bad going around, as you can see here.
Yeah, anyway, so they show Plankton topless,
and Plankton is literally whipping everyone, forcing everybody to do all the tasks because, you know, he's acting like an evil dictator.
Seriously, what is with this?
Anyway, so SpongeBob and Patrick want to become men, and Mindy tells them that they can, but unfortunately they don't believe it and start crying about it.
Which, unfortunately, in this case is pretty justified.
Anyway, they cry so much because they think they can't do anything.
Yeah.
And shed just a bunch of tears. Until Mindy says she can turn into men with mermaid magic.
Mermaid magic.
Did you hear that, Patrick? We're going to be men! And then they get excited as she tells them to close their eyes, and she takes
turn around 3 times.
And she says with her mermaid magic as they patiently wait.
Now I turn you into men.
And then when she tells them to open their eyes, they are actually just has some seaweed on their face, made to look like mustaches.
Yeah, and basically they believe that to the point where
they believe their mustaches are real.
To the point where they justify that they're men.
Anyway, Mindy says that they can do everything as they're happily, waving around their mustaches and whatnot. And she says that they can do whatever
because they're invincible.
And then they end up jumping right into the trench because that's not exactly what Mindy said. So they're actually just falling down, pretending that they're like awesome rock stars or something.
Or very invincible.
Yeah, and then when they're about to plummet to their death, a seaweed actually saves them from getting, crushed onto the ground and splatter all over the place. And then when they realize they actually are invincible, they start to sing one of the most famous songs in the movie, Now That We're Men. Anyway, the song goes on for like a few minutes. It's actually a very nice, catchy song and whatnot.
Definitely the catchiest of the movie.
Yeah, anyway, they go through all these obstacles as they are starting to ham bone.
Oh, it's time for ham bone. And Victorious will read this off years later.
Yeah, basically all the monsters do it, and they follow them along. Yeah, and as they sing along, as SpongeBob and Patrick are leading them, as they are getting closer to Shell City. But when SpongeBob actually insults the monsters in a very, kind of way, they get upset and leave.
Yeah, it's too bad that they didn't come.
Until they encounter Dennis.
Yeah, basically, he removes the mustaches and proves that they were fake and shows them.
And he tells them that what his plan was.
And that Plankton stole the crown.
Revealing a bit too much, as Plankton also told them to exterminate.
Yeah, anyway, with the really big boot. Seriously, remind me, for anyone who made fun of Alec Baldwin for being the Thomas narrator, I think this is proof enough he's scary. Anyway,
he looks like he's about to crush them with his crazy metal spikes, and he laughs about it, not even doing it, until he actually gets crushed.
By a bigger boot, aka a normal size shoe for us.
Which Patrick gets a bit more scared, and SpongeBob says that everything is okay because this bigger boot saved their lives. Unfortunately, that's not what it's going to be going for, as they actually thank him, but when he's not responding, they actually ask him a second time, as it's actually a diver, aka the Cyclops.
Yeah, and this is where live action and animation start to collide in this movie, which I always love to see whenever that happens. I love it in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I love it in stuff like Space Jam. I always like that stuff.
Anyway, he chases them down.
Yeah, and instead literally grabs them.
To the point where it gives a big close-up shot of them, and they scream at the top of their lungs until the guy actually just carries them away in a very slow way.
Seriously, who is this guy?
And anyway, yeah, they get taken away up to Shell City, which they don't realize that yet, and they're actually revealed that they are in some kind of place,
AKA
but they notice that
a goldfish bowl.
Yes, a giant glass bowl, which
it's a goldfish bowl.
Right. Anyway, they notice some fish folks and start crying out for help and telling them that they need to get out of here. But unfortunately, SpongeBob notices that they are
dead.
Unfortunately, that's actually really bad, as this guy actually killed these people.
Seriously, that guy's nuts.
Yeah. Anyway, when he comes back up, they notice and they scream again. And then he laughs at their misery as they are screaming and being afraid. Anyway, And then he makes a crazy model of Alexander
to show what he was going to do to them.
And SpongeBob is so scared that they're next, and they don't want to be turned into smelly knickknacks.
You think?
I mean, personally, I would buy that Alexander Clam Bell. It looks pretty cool. Anyway, he grabs them out, and he puts them onto a table with a huge lamp, which the heat from the lamp prevents them from moving.
Which, actually, I could believe.
Right. Since they're out of the water, and they can't move because of this, and they dry up. So SpongeBob and Patrick actually...
Sequel reference.
Right. They actually feel bad for what they have been doing.
And this scene really, honestly, always makes me feel sad. It's just slowly seeing them dry up. Anyway, they reveal that...
They are already in Shell City, and they realize that it's...
his hands!
And they realize that Shell City is a gift shop, and cry about it, the fact that they did it. And this is actually... They actually dried up to the point where they're real life. And this is actually shown that this is in the movie theater again. You guys, don't forget that these are the pirates who are watching this. And they are actually upset about it too, as they notice that the tear starts to, go form into one.
The birds, right? Look at me, the tear of the Kobe Coolers.
Nice one. Anyway, it goes down the cable.
Which I'm not sure how that was possible. Anyway, so it goes into the thing and blows out the fuse. Which blows out the lamp, so that way the heat won't do it anymore. And
as they're already dry.
And the smoke from the lamp comes up and causes the waters to run.
From the pipes on the top as a, fire thing. And boom! Guess what, everybody? They get back to normal.
Hooray!
Yes, and that makes everyone cheer. Anyway, so once they do everything, they grab hold of the crown, only to reveal that it's just this guy again. In order to really... notice, because all he's seeing around them is everything is just starting to shake and whatnot because there's just water coming everywhere.
Because there's water now, they're coming back.
Yes, because there's so much water, everyone's coming. After that whole thing, SpongeBob and Patrick freely get out of the Shell City as all the water comes out. And they carry the crown, and it's nice to see the live action and animation together.
Yeah, I've talked about that before.
Anyway, Patrick screws up the whole bag of winds thing, and they notice that it's actually just gone far away because Patrick released it in a very bad way.
Yeah, so basically the winds are running, and they try chasing after it.
Only to fail because, it just goes in. And David Hasselhoff!
Oh, hi, David Hasselhoff. What are you doing here?
He makes a big cameo in this, as he actually offers to help SpongeBob and Patrick.
Wasn't he doing that in a series where he was a lifeguard type of thing?
Anyway, SpongeBob asks where's his boat, and they realize they don't need a boat, as Hasselhoff can just swim there. Anyway, back to...
That's
Bikini Bottom. Plankton is actually happy that Krabs is frozen, as he dates that it's March 14th.
But wait, that's not right. It should say the day...
Krabs fries. Anyway, so David Hasselhoff goes on like a boat.
Anyway, so he swims over that guy, which I don't know who he was.
And so, with his nice, powerful, move, I guess, SpongeBob and Patrick notice something, and it's bigger boots.
What? How?
Yeah, but they wonder, well, how the heck could that be possible? And it's revealed that it's Dennis, who's apparently still alive, which I don't know how it's possible after being stepped on by a huge boot. And they scream, because, did you miss me? Mr. Krabs is about to be frozen, as Plankton is cheering and happy about this as he watches Krabs' execution. And he says that his time is gone until Mindy stalls the whole thing, which is making this movie have a bit of filler.
Yeah, just some padding.
And they argue about stalling now. But this is okay because Mindy's trying to prevent this execution. And Dennis is actually trying to get his revenge. And Patrick notices that there's no more time for running. And he whacks Patrick until he grabs the foot of David Hasselhoff.
And it's like, run, SpongeBob. Anyway, so essentially SpongeBob is running and tries to, bribe him by goober dollars.
And he wonders what the fuck this stuff is. Sorry for my language, but seriously. Anyway, he tells him that it's goober dollars, and he can't take more of SpongeBob's shit, and
he ends up trying to and parties.
Blows bubbles right in his eyes. And then he just catches SpongeBob right after he's about to be blown away. And then Dennis gets hit by this little boat. And that's the end of him.
Ay.
And so Patrick and SpongeBob are glad, and then Mindy just pisses her father too much as she gets locked outside and hopes that SpongeBob and Patrick could come back in time before Mr. Krabs is frozen.
You know, Mindy could have gone through the chimney.
Anyway, so then we notice that he has a very weird chest mechanism just for launching SpongeBob and Patrick back to Bikini Bottom because they will not be able to float back in time. Back in time.
Really?
Anyway, so it starts counting down from 10 as King Neptune is getting ready to fire Mr. Krabs.
And Mr. Krabs begs still down how he didn't do it, and the timer goes down even farther, and essentially, well...
It's almost too late.
Anyway, so...
And SpongeBob and Patrick get blown back to Bikini Bottom, right, of course, into the Krusty Krab 2, which they blocked.
Reflection, and it burned David Hasselhoff.
Anyway, they're happy that they have arrived and completed their mission, as well as frozen Mr. Krabs, who can, for some reason, move.
Like I said, the water slowly defrosted him.
And Plankton is actually...
Did you just say Mr. Plankton?
Kind of. Anyway.
Basically, on how SpongeBob's goals on how they won, only for Plankton's pride to protect under his umbrella, which turned out to be another bucket.
For King Neptune, because it's at king size, everybody.
Yeah, so essentially with that one...
Now Plankton has gained control over King Neptune's mind as everybody around them all just came into the restaurant.
Yes, everyone's there, including Chocolate Bar guy from Chocolate with Nuts, even.
Anyway, SpongeBob says that Plankton cheated.
Which, I don't even know how that happened.
And Plankton just confronts SpongeBob saying that...
He's a kid.
And a stupid kid, for that matter. And SpongeBob makes a speech saying, you know what, maybe he is just a kid, and all of this is just dumbness.
Yeah, and the moral of the story is essentially, it doesn't matter if you're a kid, as long as you step up for something you believe in, you can get the job done. Which I honestly love that moral.
And of course, no more magic. And SpongeBob grabs a microphone and says that he can do whatever he wanted to do with the belief that he can.
Because, yeah, he's a kid. But most of all, he's a go, yeah, rock.
Yeah, and then we get to the best song of the whole movie, the Goofy Goober Rock, which goes on for a while. Theme. Yeah, because it's very catchy. And Plankton's pissed off because everybody's not just watching him, and he forces everybody to get SpongeBob because he has the mind control power of all those aka zombies, and he turns into a wizard.
Yeah, well, with the power of rock, he becomes so powerful with his wizardry of rock magic
that he actually starts playing his guitar in a very great, cool way.
Yeah, so
in order to save people by blasting their helmets off. This is what you call the power of rock. Yeah, he saves every person in Bikini Bottom.
It's precious helmets, but yeah, it's the power of rock that saves everybody.
Everybody in the whole
including Gary.
Anyway, he saves every single person as the antenna from the Krusty Krab activate everyone's helmet to come right off. And Plankton thinks, yeah, he has to get out of here before he gets into trouble.
Also, since when the heck did they wear shoes?
And he gets stepped on and all trampled all because of it. And then since he becomes a flat thing, he just gets into this little tiny cop car for the institution of the criminally tiny
for the rest of his life.
And this is where he gets arrested for his actions. Anyway, he accidentally sets him to real boy for some reason and restores him back to his original place.
And basically, he apologizes for freezing him, and basically, he tells for Mr. Krabs to go to him because of everything that SpongeBob has done for him at this point up until the show.
And Mr. Krabs states that he is going to do something that he should have done about 6 days ago, as he tells Mr. Squidward to actually give SpongeBob the manager job.
After all that, he earned it.
Right, because of how heroic SpongeBob was. This was a very good movie, because this is actually coming towards the movie as Squidward finishes his speech and SpongeBob gets his award. So, a brief overview.
Nice hat, by the way.
Thank you. You too. Thank you. Anyway, so, Michael Segal, what did you think of this film?
Oh, simple. For a series finale, yeah, this was meant to be a series finale. Basically, it's a good ending to the show. And it's basically it shows on how SpongeBob has evolved up until that point in the series, and it definitely just shows on how much he has grown and you could say matured, but still a kid at heart all the time.
Right.
Which is pretty much a good moral for anyone who's a young adult should learn, because it doesn't matter if you're a kid or an adult, so long as you get the job done, you get it done, and it doesn't matter how old you get, you'll always be a kid at heart.
Exactly. You'll always have those memories. Well, what would you give this, since IMDb gives this a 7.1 out of 10?
I give it more of an 8.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I seriously deserve that this should have got a better rating. I mean, we got Scarlett Johansson, Alec Baldwin, Clancy Brown. Because for those who don't know,
Clancy Brown, who voices Lex Luthor in the DC animated movies,
as well as voiced as Mr. Krabs and plays Captain Hadley in The Shawshank Redemption from 1994,
And
which we will be reviewing soon.
Oh yeah. Anyway, also not to mention, obviously Tom Kenny reprises his role.
And Michael, you did mention about how in this movie SpongeBob's voice got a lot higher, and that's probably why in the new seasons.
Yeah,
just tell more a little bit about that.
For some reason, started here in the movie that they made him higher. For here,
because some people disagree. Some people say it's because of after the movie.
But it started with this movie. He got higher.
It did.
And this wasn't even the original series finale. The original series finale was actually the episode the Sponge was actually supposed to be considered a series finale before the movie was in production. Was the Sponge Who Could Fly,
which was the lost episode.
Yeah, for season 3. Not even the last episode that season, but whatever. They're both good in my opinion. I mean, in this case, because it was movie animation, it was definitely good. And this, like I said before, this was the last Nickelodeon movie until The Last Airbender, and we all know how that came out.
And the TMNT movies too.
And don't forget The Adventures of Tintin. Yes,
right.
That's a Nickelodeon movie.
Yeah, it's from. In case anyone's wondering, it's from 2012. 11.
Yeah, basically, overall, in my opinion, this movie was good. It serves as a good series finale. And it's fun. And if it was ending, I'd actually be satisfied. And I personally, this was one of 3 endings, in my opinion, that SpongeBob could have had. In my opinion, would have been good. This, The Sponge Who Could Fly,
and SpongeBob's Last Stand.
Yeah, that's season 7 episode.
It would have been a great series finale.
Yeah, and it's just good. I mean, I'm still surprised at how they got Scarlett Johansson in this and Alec Baldwin.
Right.
Then sheesh.
I mean, you do guys realize Alec Baldwin did play in that bomb movie, The Cat in the Hat.
Yeah, and not to mention he is basically the main character on 30 Rock.
Speaking of which, since he's the narrator of Thomas the Tank Engine,
he was.
I know, that's why I said since he's the narrator.
Yeah,
he actually played in the movie Thomas and the Magic Railroad, narrated and acted in it.
Yeah, playing Mr. Conductor.
Some conductor, yes. I haven't seen that movie in a while.
Neither have I. It's been a long time.
Well,
yeah.
That's it. Unless you got something to say, I'm done.
It's just the good flick. By the way, you never gave your rating.
No, I told you I gave it an 8. I agreed with you.
Oh.
I said I deserve the better rating.
Yeah, it deserved a better rating, though. In my opinion, SpongeBob's voice shouldn't have been that high yet. Oh, thanks. Who knows? All I know is that either way, this served as a good ending to SpongeBob, and it's just, this is something from my childhood, and it's why we always review SpongeBob every now and then.
Right, like our 2 other reviews were Tudor Sauce and Squid's Defense.
Yeah, it's like a recurring thing.
Yeah, we usually do it when
every
our videos
every now and then
don't do good.
Yeah, this is just something from our childhoods, and in my opinion,
I've always liked this.
Yeah,
it was my 3rd SpongeBob DVD to begin with. Yeah, because I've collected them a lot in my childhood.
Yeah, it's just something that I think deserves, well, it shouldn't get all the hate that it has gotten.
I don't think this movie gets hate. I know a lot of people who love this movie.
Not this SpongeBob as a whole.
Ah, right.
Yeah, I
mean SpongeBob does have an 8.1 on IMDb, the entire show.
Yeah, but but everyone knows the infamous stuff that's happened in season 6, right?
Right.
Yeah, but it's just like.
But people do know that season 9 has greatly improved, not counting Squid Baby or Little Yellow Book
or SpongeBob You're Fired.
Right.
Those were real duds in that season. But overall, season 9 has been a major improvement over the past couple seasons.
Right.
That season definitely deserves a trophy.
Right, because this is the Entertainment Idiots Award.
No, it isn't. If you really want to know what that was from me for getting Best Smile. Anyway, see you next review.
See ya.